Coming up next on the Jeff Crilley Show, he went from scoring touchdowns in the NFL to scoring touchdowns in the audio world. I'll explain next.
Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team, and the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is the Jeff Crilley Show.
Well, for far too many NFL athletes, playing in the NFL was the pinnacle of their success. That is not true for my next guest. Mark Clayton is in the studio. He is the founder of LIVV Audio. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me, Jeff.
Absolutely. Okay, so I'm going to talk all about your audio product in a minute, but I want to brag about your success on the football field. So you were a standout, and some have called you a legend for the Oklahoma Sooners. And then you played with the Baltimore Ravens and the St. Louis Rams. Yep. I mean, when you look back on your NFL career, is that kind of shocking that you did all that stuff?
Oh my gosh, yes. It was really surprising to me. I didn't expect to go to the NFL. I thought that I would actually leave high school, go to the Air Force, study to be an engineer. I want to be an architect and learn how to fly planes. The NFL was not in my horizon. As a junior, I was playing junior varsity and suiting up for varsity. We had injuries at the quarterback position, and I was up, and so I got to play a game at quarterback my junior year.
Wow.
It did not go great. I think it was DeSoto, I want to say. Mm-hmm. They beat us pretty handily, like they do everybody else. And after that, coach was like, "Hey, man, we're going to change you to a wide receiver." So I played a couple of games at receiver and went into the off season. And in the off season was where I got to learn a little bit more receiver and play 7-on-7. We played a big tournament down at Texas A&M. And after that tournament, I got a letter from Texas A&M. And from that point going forward, everything was totally different. Wow. And so that shifted the whole trajectory of my whole thought process in terms of what my future looked like after high school, and it opened the door to going to college on a full ride.
And your story in college is just stick-to-itiveness and hustle. So like you told me that at one point you quit the team.
I did, yeah. So probably it was around it was my freshman year, the summer workouts. Many people that are familiar with the organization know about Jerry Smith. Everybody, when you hear that name, you know he is the heartbeat of why Oklahoma is so tough. And we're glad to have him back at the university this year. But that summer, it was the first time I worked out and trained. Before that, for me, it was all just sport. All I wanted to do was play the game.
Right.
And so getting to the university, there's no just playing the game. You have to go through summer training and work your way into this rotation. And so getting introduced to Jerry Smith, it was not pleasant. I had a full body cramp. I believe in one of the early workouts. I ended up rupturing my pectoral muscle, I believe in one of the early workouts.
Wow.
I was a very small guy. I was 148 pounds. I could not bench 135 at that time. And then, after kind of this coach figuring out, hey, he's not strong, how about we go run the 40? In the 40-yard dash, I ran a 4.74. If anybody understands that is not fast for a receiver at all. There are linemen that run 4.74 nowadays, a lot of them. And from there, it was like, they realized we got work to do. And for me, it was just daunting because, here I am, this really scrawny kid at this university, and, I don't know, I wasn't expecting all of this. And so it was a bit much for me. And so I tried to leave the program and go home to my grandmother's house, who was in Oklahoma, God rest her soul, and just kind of get away. I told her I was going to be working. And, if you have one of those grandmothers, they're instinctive. They pray and they just know. God tells them things. And sure enough, she just was like, hey, I think we should go to the school because I think coach said you should be training right now. And I was like, no, we're off. She was like, well, let's just go up and see. And so we get in the car and we go up to the university, and we Coach Jackie Shipp meet us downstairs and kind of have a little engagement. He don't really know what's going on. And then we go up to Coach Stoops' office, and there she asked him. And there he told her.
Wow.
And there I was back at the university.
Okay, so what changed mentally for you to, excel at the college level and then later get drafted?
Man, and so after that moment, what I realized was that I wasn't the only one hurting. I wasn't the only one in pain. I wasn't the only one, frustrated with the amount of work that was being asked of us. And then, being around my boys and having the guys really corral, encourage me and push me and bro, we're in this together, was a big part of me just being able to just push through and finish that summer workout and go into training camp and be okay in training camp and get to the season. Getting to the season was exciting. My freshman year, we won the national championship. I was a scout team player, and I enjoyed being a scout team. I loved it. We went against essentially the top defense in the country every week.
Kidding.
There's, Derek Strait was a Thorpe Award winner.
Yeah.
Roy Williams is Nagurski and a Thorpe and a Heisman finalist. Rocky Kalmus is over. We had towards that defense was amazing. And so that grew me up. And it was just kind of the joy that I had from really trying to make them work hard, or really wanted to, make plays on them and get them in trouble with coach. And from there, it just kind of just grew. I grew into being a solid receiver and somebody who won Scout Team Player of the Week a few times. Me and Jason White was on the Scout team, who later won the Heisman. We kind of built our relationship and connection in that space. And man, it was just the beginning of the foundation of me becoming who I became as a junior and senior.
And you were a first-round draft choice.
Yes, sir. Yep. I ended up being a two-time All-American. I was a Blitnikoff finalist. I lost to Larry Fitzgerald, the GOAT Larry Fitzgerald, who is amazing, man. It was a great group of receivers at that time that was just hard workers and grinders. And so to go from leaving and to growing and then being a first-round draft pick to the Baltimore Ravens was something really special.
Wow. Okay, so we're going to show this clip in a second, but I want you to set the stage for this. When did you start thinking about the headphones?
So it was, I wouldn't say 2007, 8 or so, when Beats had introduced the Beats into the market, and they were giving everybody headphones, and I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it, and it was like when we started to work out with headphones.
Yeah.
And before that, it wasn't really a thing to really just take over headphones and go work out. But this had began, and just as we did it, in my experience, I wanted to really run routes in these headphones. And there was a couple times prior to getting traded to the Rams that I had broke these headphones from doing all this work and generate all this force. And so from there, those couple experiences didn't really spark an idea or anything. It was just what it was. And surely I got more. But when I got to the Rams, week 5, I ruptured my patella tendon. And, in my mind, I'm like, oh, we'll do the rehab and I'll be back next season. But during this rehab, it was a little longer process from other surgeries that I had. And we did a lot of work in the swimming pool. In the swimming pool was where, it kind of dawned on me like, man, why isn't there an over-ear headphone that stays on your head, that has music on it actually, that's waterproof, and something that's made for athletes, that's made to be durable, that's made for me to move and do whatever I had to do without worrying about it. That's where the first idea came from.
All right, hold that thought. We're going to roll this clip.
The concept for the headphones started really, I think it was all the way back to high school. My goal was to be an engineer. I wanted to be an architect. As football progressed, being in the NFL, the introduction of headphones was major. And so Beats introduced these really awesome headphones with a big sound in 2008. and I was wearing mine in pregame warm-ups, and it didn't work out because I was running around full speed, and the headphone fell off and it broke. The first concept was, I'll just say, it was super ugly. It was really ugly. I had my sketches. We actually made some clay models, and at that point, through some relationships, I went and was able to connect with who's my partner now, Del Lott. And I showed him what I had, and he looked at it, and he was like, man, he's like, well, that's just dumb. Eventually, he came to the point, he was like, you know what, we'll try it. And so from there, over the next 6 months, working on iteration to iteration, we got to the point where we had our first proof of concept. To test it, one of the things I did was in the hotel in Vegas, I would jump up and land on the bed and let my head like snap to see if it would fall off or not. And it stayed on. So it was like, this is great. Just to think that on a piece of paper with a pencil, there was a sketch of a headband that doesn't even totally look like it does today. And the process that it's went through and how it's changed over time and has grown into what it is now, it's absolutely fulfilling. Being able to be a part of a university and a group that understands and is built on excellence and our standards being very, very high is, quite frankly, just the core of what we're doing. It's very important for me to support scholarships at the University of Oklahoma through the sales of LIVV because it offers so many opportunities for people who wouldn't necessarily otherwise have to go to a university and have a chance to be whatever it is that they want to be. Me and LIVV in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, kind of this started as a pet project, and the goal was essentially to make one headphone that I could work out in and it don't fall off my head. And the goal is to, mesh the relationship between movement and music with any product that we ever come out with. This is version number 1. It's phenomenal, but there's more.
It was a great video. I especially liked your tenacity because it shows that you're always striving to be better.
Yeah, most definitely. It's so important, and it comes from football really. Just at the university, my story of starting off and feeling overwhelmed and coming back and having encouragement from everybody else, and then showing the persistence of just continuing to work at it, and then seeing the fruit of that work. Really has just, found his way into my life post this football.
And you just created a new video. I want to set this up. This is the latest version.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this is version number 3?
This would be so we had prototype phase,
Yep.
Then we went on and made a MVP of that, and so I would call that Gen 1.
Yeah.
This would be Gen 2 of our process.
Oh, that's cool. And roll the video.
Have you ever noticed that headphones were designed just to sit on your head, but not move with you? It's time to evolve the headphone, so you can do more than just listen. It's time to live. LIVV is the world's first luxury sport headphone, created and tested by professional athletes and invented for those who move. This is what happens when you fuse bold sound, patented ergonomic design, and luxury feel into one headphone. Experience the future for yourself. Live in a flow state.
And you were just telling me that this is popular with both men and women.
Yeah. And then, as a businessman, a big part of that is listening.
Right.
is listening to your consumers, listening to what I would say are the family. And a lot of the feedback that we got was on the original design not looking and feeling sexy. So it was my focus to take what we had and put something together that now we have the function and we have a fashion piece to it.
Nice. You just had an event. We're going to put some pictures up on the screen from your Facebook, and I want you to talk about the event. Where was it? What happened?
Yeah, so we put an event together downtown Dallas at the AT&T Experience Arena, which is such an amazing setup. It's my beautiful wife there. And what we did was have our investor group, some friends and family, and people who have all kind of been on the fringe about LIVV and have known what has been going on, but hadn't seen anything in a few years. And I felt like I wanted to put something together where we gave people an experience of how we're going into the market now. And so we're totally different than what we were in the past, based on a lot of the feedback that we got. And I knew we needed to be sexier in design, but we also needed to be sexier in our activations. And so this was an incredible event that everybody came and they loved. They had such a great time. And I was, so happy to host again. I was a host of parties in college. This was similar to that. So I was happy to host again, but then allow people to experience and see the vision of LIVV and where we're going. And people were certainly blown away.
Wow. I mean, do you see this being the new Beats?
I look at it like we are joining the family of audio products. I think there's a number of audio products that are amazing that I've used over the course of my life. For me, it's like, hey, we want to come in the market and provide something different than what's out there for a group of people who thinks, man, I wonder if a headphone could do this. I actually hadn't seen a headphone look like that before. That actually looks like something for an athlete or something that is more for active lifestyle. I want to try that. And then support it with all of our functions and features that say, hey, no matter where you're at in life, whether you're sitting on a plane or whether you are training and you're super sweaty and you're doing your last rep, these headphones keep up with you. They fit in your life no matter where you're at.
Wow. I'm so inspired by you. You're going to have to come back again. We're going to end with his Facebook page, which is at Mark Clayton. Thank you for coming on the show.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, Jeff.
That's it for now. We'll see you next time.